Canadian mainstream media finally picking up on this story. CTV News reporting that Canada's foreign worker program is a breeding ground for contemporary slavery. Now, before we get into this, I want to point out that I've been reporting on this for months, and several reporters, such as Darshan Maharaja, have been talking about this for years. And yes, of course, the mainstream media is now just cluing into this. Perhaps they should be paying attention to the alternative media, or what we now call the new mainstream. Perhaps they'll get a tip on what's going on, but hey, better late than never, they might say. Well, here is CTV News saying that Canada's foreign worker program is a breeding ground for contemporary slavery in a new UN scathing report talking about the LMIA program and how it's being exploited to create indentured servitude in our beautiful country where, great, true north, strong and free. Well, some people are not so free in this place after all. Canada's temporary foreign worker program serves as a breeding ground for contemporary slavery, according to a scathing UN report examining Canada's efforts to limit unfair labor. Now, in that report, they talk about reforming migration programs that are conducted to exploitation, obviously. And this is in the report titled Report of the Special Rapporteur for Contemporary Forms of Slavery, including its causes and consequences. Absolutely. Now let's get into this. The program allows employers to hire foreign workers when they can't find qualified Canadians. The number of workers employed through the program has grown considerably in the recent years. According to the UN report, there were just over 84,000 permit holders in 2018. In 2022, there was nearly 136,000. Most of them worked in agriculture and related labor sectors. Come on. Let's talk more about the related labor sectors, because it's not most of them in agriculture, as you will see shortly. The report, written by UN Special Rapporteur on Contemporary Forms of Slavery, Tomoya Obokata, says the program puts workers in an unfair power imbalance with their employers. Well, where would that come from? For example, if a worker is fired, they may be deported. Some workers are deliberately not informed of their rights or too fearful to report exploitative working conditions, wrote Obokata. Sorry, mispronunciation of names is my specialty. Many of them are also ensnared in debt bondage while participating in the programs, according to the report. Now, they just get into this. I really want to focus on this. Now, this is in recent times. People have been investigating for themselves, and a Reddit user here in r/Toronto jobs says, I made a map of every employer who had an LMIA accepted because they couldn't find Canadian workers from 2023 to present. Now, in this map, they made it an interactive one across Canada where you can just see all the businesses, because this is public record. Once they apply for these things, then you find out. You can look at this interactive map throughout Canada and see the different places and what they hired people for. Now, you might see here that primary agriculture is in green. There's not a lot of green on the map. So when they say that it's primarily agriculture and other low wage, yeah, it's mostly the other low wage stuff throughout Canada. Now, this has been a problem in Canada, and the reason why it's been so exploitative is it's the new form of indentured servitude. New immigration scam. LMIA letters are being sold for $10,000 to $15,000 by some Indian businesses. Just heard through some first-hand Indian student vlogs, most are in Hindi and Punjabi, that the LMIA letters are being sold to prospective Indian immigrants by Indian businesses here in Canada for big sums of money. Also heard about some cases back in India where people have not just arranged for LMIA letters for money, but have also taken up to $100K from future immigrants to pay them back as salary for the next year or two. This is to show employment, in addition to a fee of $30,000 to arrange all of this. Brilliant. Do we have a government here? The Canada that I called my country for 30 years seems to be disappearing rapidly. Come on, Trudeau, so something, please. Of course, this is what's being said here. Now, back to the article. They may also incur debts. Yeah, we just went over that. Including the cost that legally should be borne only by the employer, reads the report, dated July 2022 and shared with the federal government before publication. The program is administered by Employment and Social Development Canada, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, and Canada Border Services Agency. In Quebec, the provincial government is an administrative partner. The government defers to a significant portion of its responsibilities for informing temporary foreign workers of their rights to employers, despite the obvious conflict of interest, according to the report. Because workers lack access to justice, they are at risk of a variety of other abuses, it says in the report. Special rapporteur received reports of underpayment and wage theft, physical, emotional, and verbal abuse, excessive work hours, limited breaks, extra contractual work, uncompensated managerial duties, lack of personal protective equipment, including hazardous conditions. Women reported sexual harassment, exploitation, and abuse. In a statement to CTV News, Mathis Dennis, spokesman for the Minister of Employment, Workforce Development, and Official Languages, said the government has recently increased fines for companies that don't offer appropriate working conditions for other work. Oh, they're just going to increase fines. That's what they're going to do. No jail time for anybody that commits, I don't know, an act of slavery and enslaves a fellow human being. Now, of course, Tim Hortons has come under fire as of recent, and this is not just like this is well documented, but nonetheless, it has been a popular thing in social media and whatnot. Lauren Southern, obviously, blazing trail with this one. I love Indian food with the Tim Hortons cup. Funny as it is, this is a very serious matter. Tim Hortons criticized for looking abroad to staff Ontario cafes. Not just Ontario, but this report reports on just Ontario. More residents in Ontario and Canada at large have been keeping an eye on foreign workers' stats lately after learning just how many companies have applied to hire employees from abroad using labor market impact assessment, LMIAs, including Tim Hortons, which is now under serious scrutiny for their practice. It has come to light that the assessments, a tool from the federal government reserved for times when there is a need for foreign workers to fill a job because no Canadian worker or permanent resident is available to do it. They're being used for all sorts of positions that many feel could easily be filled by local candidates. This is especially concerning when the job market is as competitive as it currently is, with qualified hopefuls having to apply hundreds or even thousands of positions in Toronto. Unemployment rate is sitting at a brutal 7.7%. The burly chief on Twitter saying corporations exploiting programs by the federal government that deprive everyone involved of dignified employment. You didn't say. You don't say. Absolutely. Now, in a viral map, which I showed you just moments ago, showing the thousands of entry-level and low-wage positions that are being filled with foreign workers in Ontario, has now been followed by subsequent social media posts about Tim Hortons specifically, which users have calculated hired a whopping 1,131% more temporary foreign workers in 2023 than in 2019. Wow, that's an incredible increase. And hey, I wonder what kind of profits Tim Hortons is turning around. Hey, have your coffees gotten any cheaper because of the savings they've been having? No, I mean, I don't buy coffee from them anymore. In fact, I buy coffee from myself. If you want to get a coffee, have a cup of Joe with me in the morning. Why don't you forget about Tim Hortons? Go check out Clyde Do Something. Oh, what is this? This is the Clyde Brew Something brand. If you like medium dark roast, even decaf coffee, have a cup cup of joe with me in the morning, and you can even drink it from these beautiful cups right here. Go check that out and enjoy. But this is what's happening in Canada. People are, they're not saving on their coffee, but the Tim Hortons that has been serving their coffee, and it's not just Tim Hortons. Although people are pointing out Tim Hortons, for example, there are many other low entry-level position companies or entry-level positions that are being doled out by these companies to temporary foreign workers in cases where they feel like, well, it's a seriously indentured servitude, where people are paying for these visas and then spending years trying to pay them off and going through the immigration system. Now, of course, links as always in the description down below. But is this the only problem that we're seeing in Canada due to the open borders? What's happening? Well, news came out recently about some really bad people getting accepted into Canada and then even becoming citizens after having done really terrible things in the world.
One of the two men charged with plotting the terror attack in Toronto came to Canada from abroad and became a Canadian citizen after allegedly appearing in an ISIS video dismembering a prisoner. Can you tell us when and how he came to Canada?
This is obviously a very serious situation that the Minister of Public Safety is ensuring there are a full follow-up and understanding on exactly how this happened. I know investigations are ongoing, and the Minister will share all that we learned in the appropriate moment. But we're taking this extremely seriously because Canadians need to have confidence in our immigration system and on the millions of people who've come here over the past years to build a better life for themselves and their future. We need to make sure everything is done to keep Canadians safe.
Is the issue that you are not sure as to how this person came to Canada, or just not willing to share at this point what you know?
We are proceeding in a proper and thorough investigation on exactly how this happened, and we will share with Canadians at the appropriate moment.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to share that. They're always willing to share. That's the nature of the Trudeau government here in Canada. Always willing to share. Anyway, I want to leave this with you while you're having your cup of joe, hopefully made by yourself or by Canadians or people who, were only hired here because there was nobody else available, perhaps. I'd love for you to share your opinions on this. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about all of this. And of course, we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.